People see monkeys mostly in enclosures and zoos. There, they seem peaceful and harmless enough. Things are different in the wild. Baboons are not afraid to fight even a leopard or a crocodile. Gorillas show monstrous strength, and chimpanzees are incredibly aggressive and ruthless. It's worth seeing. In this episode, I'll show you the brutal attacks of these primates caught on camera. Let's go! Baboons are hunters. First on the list are the yellow baboons. Their habitat is the steppes and mountainous areas of Middle and East Africa. Many other animal species live in such an area, so they have many natural enemies. But since yellow baboons live in troops, they defend and hunt together. Baboons are omnivores and can eat both plant and animal foods. The place of action is the Great Rift Valley, Lake Bogoria. Baboons and flamingos are neighbors here. They coexist in harmony, but sometimes the baboons can attack. One summer, about 4 million flamingos came to the lake. They filled everything around them. Some of the baboons have never seen so many birds and don't know how to behave with them. It's very unusual for them. Some of the young monkeys have decided that out of fruit and easy prey, it's preferable to taste new meat. This happens quite rarely, so the cameraman was lucky enough to catch this event on camera. Perhaps nature is balancing out the delicate balance in this way. Baboons versus leopard. A tourist managed to capture an amazing event. On the bank of the pond, the leopard is surrounded by a very large crowd of baboons. Obviously, the strength of the parties here is not equal. Leopards are usually lone hunters, while baboons are capable of banding together. We can assume that the leopard has wandered into the waterhole, extremely unlucky, and got caught by a troop of aggressive monkeys. After all, when it comes to defending their territories, baboons become very ferocious and can even kill a leopard due to their numerical superiority. Even such a large and formidable cat has no choice but to retreat quickly so as to not run into trouble. The leopard quickly escapes, overtaking the monkeys, and climbs a tree, trying to take cover in the foliage, but the baboons follow it. Some go back, but most seem determined to continue the chase. Let's hope that the leopard has escaped and that it won't be so reckless as to trespass again. Baboons versus crocodile. The Kwando Reserve in Botswana. The monkeys run and frolic on the bank of the reservoir, and one of them sits in the water. There seem to be no signs of trouble. This baboon was about to get out of the water, but suddenly it turns out that there was a crocodile next to it the whole time. It almost succeeds in grabbing the baboon and dragging it under the water, but the ape congeners are sitting nearby and see everything. They immediately start shouting loudly, calling to the others for help, and manage to pull the baboon to dry land. They bite and kick the crocodile until it hurriedly gets back in the water. What a cohesion! Baboon versus lion. A unique moment was captured by a safari tourist in the western Serengeti. A lioness and a baboon are in the frame. This is already unusual because both lions and baboons usually walk in groups. The baboon, which is 1.5 to 2 times smaller than the lioness, chases it like a little kitten to the amusement of the audience. The predator runs from it in a circle, turning back. Finally, they both come to a standstill. It seems the chase is over and it's time to separate. But the lioness still stands still, as if waiting for something to happen. The baboon observes it in contemplation to chase it further, or not, sensing the approaching danger. But suddenly 3 more lionesses appear in the frame, and it becomes clear why the predator's been standing for so long. It was waiting for backup to arrive so that it could attack its prey as a group. This, too, is strange behavior for lionesses, because usually they chase bigger preys. But none of that matters anymore because the baboon can't escape. It's surrounded on both sides and becomes their prey. Do you think the baboon could have survived if it wasn't alone? Share your thoughts in the comments, and stay tuned to see gorillas and chimpanzees in action and learn a lot about them. Who can be attacked by gorillas? Gorillas are the largest representatives of primates. Males can be as tall as 5.2 to 5.9 feet and weigh up to 440 pounds. Females weigh half as much as males. In the wild, they're found in the equatorial forests of Western and Central Africa, while mountain gorillas live in the forested slopes of the volcanic Virunga Mountains. Gorillas live in groups of 5 to 30 with the leader. Despite their formidable appearance, they're actually quite peaceful and intelligent. Remember, for example, Koko the gorilla, who could understand by ear about 2,000 English words? But still, gorillas are also powerful animals. The gorilla attacks only as a last resort. As a rule, it can be a clash between 2 males.
Oh no, not these animals again.
For example, in 2013, in Volcanoes National Park in the
Link to
northwest of Rwanda,
join.
a conflict between two males was caught on camera.
Link to join this stream and a link to the original of this video are in the comments.
First, they shout loudly, ready to attack each other. They show their sharp, long fangs, which can easily cause serious wounds. Tension builds up between them, they freeze for a second, and then they start flailing their arms at each other. Imagine the power of these blows. One male pounces on the other, forcing it back into the bushes. The gorilla's main fighting technique is to jump and strike with their limbs. It's hard enough to survive a blow with the strength of 330 pounds of muscles without serious injuries. So now it's clear that a gorilla will not attack without an emergency. Does this apply to humans? It's known that in 12 years, from 2000 to 2012, there were only 3 recorded cases of gorillas attacking humans.
Oh, damn.
And in all cases, the humans survived. People purposely come to the habitats of these primates to see them in their natural habitat, not in zoos. To be safe next to the gorilla, just follow a number of simple rules. Do not make any sudden movements, and do not stand at full height, so as to not be higher than the gorilla. It's better to just sit down and not approach the females with their offspring. The video shows a group of tourists filming a group of gorillas. The male is standing a little to the side, but suddenly it gets to its feet, beats its chest, and runs straight at the people. You must agree it's scary enough when a wild animal runs at you, which can at best break your ribs with a single blow. An experienced guide immediately tells his companions, "Don't worry, don't run." The gorilla ran between the people, slightly pushed the woman, and she almost fell. Now the large primate is standing right among the people. It's unclear what exactly is going on in its head in this moment and what to expect from it. The gorilla looks around, then calmly walks back, and as if in between, playfully grabs the tourist by the pants and drags her after it. The guides immediately take her under their arms, help her stand up, and the gorilla runs away. Gorilla opponents. Humans and other males are not the only reasons that can cause a gorilla to attack. In a national park in Gabon on the west coast of Central Africa, scientists described for the first time a chimpanzee attack that resulted in casualties. In February 2019, a community of chimpanzees attacked a troop of gorillas that included the leader, 3 females, and 1 infant. The leader managed to wound 3 chimpanzees, but despite this, the baby couldn't be saved. The surveillance camera recorded the following. At first, all that can be heard is screaming, which sounds like a typical showdown between chimpanzees within a group. But then there's the sound of fists hitting the chest, which undoubtedly belongs to the gorilla. This gesture is used to intimidate opponents. Throughout the 52 minutes of the video, chimpanzees were seen gathering in groups and attempting to attack the troop of gorillas. Eventually, the gorillas were forced to retreat,
I know, right?
losing their infant in the process. Usually these two primates
Pull 'em
coexist
right
together
over
quite peacefully, but this time the
ragdoll.
chimpanzees behaved very aggressively. Chimpanzees are generally considered one of the most aggressive and intelligent primates. They're able to use their congeners, other monkeys, and
Good to see you, Sammy.
animals for fun, sometimes doing so with extreme cruelty. Here are just a few examples that visitors to zoos have filmed. In one zoo, a duck and its ducklings got into an enclosure with chimpanzees. The monkeys started running and chasing the bird all over the enclosure. 2 of them even fought with each other trying to catch it. In another zoo, a squirrel came running into the chimpanzees and they caught it. They chased it and showed it to visitors, but at one point they got tired of it. At the Oregon Zoo, the unfortunate squirrel had even less luck. The chimpanzee spun it by the tail. At the St. Louis Zoo, a raccoon accidentally snuck through pipes into an enclosure with monkeys. It didn't have time to sneak back out because it kept getting pulled by its tail out of the pipes, pawed, and thrown from a height to the ground.
Oh.
In the wild, young chimpanzees tend to be violent toward their elders in order to take the alpha male's place in the community. Within the community, monkeys may band together to beat up another monkey. Chimpanzees generally eat other smaller monkeys. The western red colobus is one of their favorite edible species. The little monkey cleverly climbs up the trunk of the tree. It jumps from branch to branch, trying to get away from the chase as quickly and as far as possible. But chimpanzees are hardy and can chase their prey for a long time. They can also call their congeners for help. Unfortunately, the little monkey doesn't stand a chance. Chimpanzees versus humans. A tourist who wanted to take a memento photo was attacked by a chimpanzee. He was sitting next to it on a chair when the primate rushed at him and clung to his clothes. The trainer tried to help the poor guy free himself from the monkey's clutches, but there was no way. Chimpanzees are incredibly strong. Their powerful muscles can be seen even from under their fur. That's why it's not easy to get out when the chimpanzee grabs you. But in the end, everything was safely resolved. The chimp just wanted a small cup of delicious ice cream. That's all, guys. Which primates do you like more? Chimpanzees, gorillas, or baboons? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and see you later.
Okay, and that was from where? Oh, I forgot. Star Pizza.
Yes.
Okay, we don't need ads. Yeah, so as indicated by my presence here, I did not get a sex worker to come back to my motel room and urinate on me. So that's fun. That's fun. I can't. That made me smile all day. Outwardly smile. It was very refreshing. Isn't it embarrassing when you can't remember somebody's name? And yeah, you just met them. That's pretty embarrassing. They are well, yeah, they're pretty wild. Well, you think we used to be like that, right? Kind of. We were more like chimps before we evolved or whatever. Why are there so many attractive female police officers in this city? What's going on around here? It's a conspiracy. Is this just my eye? No. so we're gonna try this Keef cannabis cannabis infused flavored beverage, Mr. Puffer. It's supposed to be like a Dr. Pepper, I suppose, and it has a tab on the top here, one of which the likes of which I've never seen. How the hell do you? What am I supposed to do with this? I'm gonna use my knife. See no other way. I got this new knife, gently used. Actually, I'm pretty sure it got run over by a bus. But it has the glass breaker and the belt cutter. I've showed that on here before. Yeah, which I thought would be very useful because where I'm at, there's a lot of driving incidents. So everyone's fine. A lot of driving instances, and it's right at a freeway on ramp and bus terminals. Anyway, so there's a good chance I might end up having to use that one of these days. Not bad. Wouldn't say, it perfectly captures the essence of a Dr. Pepper for like the connoisseur, but for what it is, not bad. I might hang out for an hour or two. I don't know, depending on how effective this is, and what happens around here. But no topic. I just wanted to proof of life and no sex workers over tonight. It's not like I'm joking anyway. Couldn't afford it anyway. I should probably apologize. Not that girl would hear this, but that person I was talking about. I don't have any reason. She might be a sex worker, she might not, but that's just like a random assumption. Random assumption. Okay, I see this, but if you have any suggestions, Sammy, the only other thing I had to, should we watch that? I don't know if we should watch that. Does contain violence, human violence. Yeah, hell with it. Been watching a little bit of these lately because I haven't watched in a while. The Atheist Experience does 24/7 live restreams of clips of old AXP videos.
This game, you're not ready for it.
That's deep, man. You can't handle the game.
And to start acting negatively when they don't get a reward that's as good. So they're actually looking at evaluation of the type of reward. And that's more in line with kind of how humans view it, right? We don't just see a reward like, oh, he got paid and I got paid and we're happy. If you find out your coworker who has the same title as you is making $25,000 a year more, you're going to be like, hey, wait a minute, that's not cool. And so you have this sort of sense of justice about yourself. So then the question comes out, how do we gauge justice somewhere else, right? So we're watching a situation and we're saying, is this just, is this not just? And we're looking at a society where maybe a lot of people would agree that this does not comport with justice, that what's happening here is really bad. People are being sent to camps and genocidally killed, and people are being, reporters are being murdered, and some people are just being disappeared because they disagree with, political opinions. And so we see this thing, and it's like, what a terror of a society this is. And all of us are like, this is really not okay. This is really unjust. What it demonstrates is people don't have to comport with justice. There's no compulsion, right? Like a society can get away with injustice for as long as it can get away with injustice. And unless somebody stops it, it's going to continue in the way that it continues. What you're kind of asking when you say, why does it have to be good, would be, why does it have to be just, right? So what is the impetus that would make us want to ensure justice for someone else? Right? I mean, isn't that kind of what you're asking?
Kind of. But going back to your justice part, if a society, regardless, well, I guess it's kind of hard because, our society, we're a democratic republic and we vote. But if we lived in a society that didn't have a vote, if something was happening, how can we ultimately say that what society X is doing over here on the right is wrong because our society here doesn't do that? Like, I mean, there has to be
No, I agree. The metric should never be, this is not how we do it, therefore it's wrong. Right? The metric of what is just isn't whatever I do. Justice has about it a sense of fairness and whether people are being treated with equity. Right? Are we being treated equally, or is there inequality? And you can measure inequality, right? Because there's metrics by which you can tell if somebody is in poverty, is somebody starving, is somebody being brutalized, is somebody... These are things that we can actually quantify and observe. And so the question becomes, do we want to be in a world where people are brutalized, people are abused, people... and where the rest of us just sit back and say, this is a fine thing. This is where, to me, that objective part of the morality that I was talking about earlier kicks in. Now, what we have generally as people is an innate sense of, we get upset when we see an injustice, right? Most people, when they see something that they consider to be unjust, they have a negative reaction, just like the chimp and just like the dog. We are going to have that. Now, the question becomes, do I want to suppress that and say, I don't care that I'm watching this injustice and that this is disturbing to me? Or should I be disturbed by something I'm not? Like you're saying, if you're enculturated to something, like let's say that I live in a society where women are treated like in a horribly objectified way and where they're raped or beaten if they get out of line. When I look, if I grew up in that society, I might think that's perfectly fine, right? This is perfectly okay. And that's where it comes down to, it's not just how I was raised, right? You have to look even at that and say, okay, so this is, I've been taught this is fine and it doesn't bother me to see it, but should this bother me to see it? Should this be one of those things that I look at and I say, that is an injustice? Would I want to be objectified, beaten, raped? Would that be okay if it was me in that position in society instead of this other person? And this is where the equity
Only if
comes
you
in,
were a
which is one of
masochist, I
those
guess.
other aspects of moral tendencies that we measure.
Smoking
Do
the
we have a sense of
Oreos
equity?
that I've shown
Right?
this
Do I have a
morning.
sense that this thing is like me? And as human beings, we actually do, right? We have the capacity, even as children, to recognize human faces above other species faces. Like we have a better capacity to recognize other humans. So we do see
Right.
people in a unique way where we recognize you are one of those things like me. And so we have a sense of equity. So the question is, do we want to just suppress the morality or not? And I think that when you kind of look at the large picture of the world, it sort of becomes obvious that the better we make it for people, the more equity and the more justice and the more that things just seem to get better for everybody. The less we let some groups get abused, the better it kind of is for us all. And I think we feel better about it because we are innately geared toward these things. I mean, does that make sense to you?
Yeah. So with your last points on what you were talking about, like should we solely base them on our own feelings, or should we have a set feeling, or is there something outside of both of that we should appeal to for?
Yeah, I think that we do have an innate reaction to injustice, but the problem is that when you're raised in a situation where you're taught that this is just or this is okay to do to somebody else, you tend to not really all those empathetic things that you would normally feel toward that person can sort of be headed off in a way where you don't really care. Like that's why you had this huge genocidal issue in Germany in World War II, right? That's why you could kill all these people and brutalize all these people, because to some degree there were some people who simply were just like, oh, they're different than me. They're not
Still
the
wearing
same.
pants, just
They
my
didn't
belt.
have that. They weren't using their sense of equity and their sense of empathy and that
First
recognition.
thing that goes in a war
Right.
is you vilify your.
As soon as you start to objectify people and dehumanize them, that to me is the first step toward atrocity. To me, that when I see an objectification or a dehumanization of some group, when I look at that, I think you have just crossed the line into horrible.
Right. Yeah, I can agree with that, and I think too it kind of gets both deep and confusing, because I mean you can make the argument. Not that I am making the argument, but one can make the argument that, you know, for using the Nazis for the death camps and the Jews, that they were appealing to emotion to okay their behavior.
Yeah, they were getting people angry, but they weren't appealing to the moral tendencies, right? Anger is not a moral tendency. You might react angrily to seeing an injustice, but anger is not a moral tendency. The moral tendencies are those things that promote social cohesion and promote unity and bonding between individuals within a species. And so not all emotion is necessarily morally related, right? There are moral tendencies and they will evoke certain feelings and reactions in people, but the feelings themselves that are secondary to those things that are innate to us, like empathy, equity, fairness, guilt, obligation. The moral tendencies are those aspects of the person that we experience that promote bonding, not that promote savagery. That would not be a moral defined as a moral tendency.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that, but I still think there's, and again, I'm not making the argument, but I think someone along the line could make the argument for, you know, justifying that behavior, I guess.
Well, sure, and they have. I mean, we've seen it. You're not simply being hypothetical. I mean, we watched it happen, and they did try to say that this was a moral thing to do. And I guess what I'm saying is that when we actually look at moral tendencies, right, and we look at this from a more evaluative standpoint, what we see is that it actually didn't comport with moral behavior toward other people, right? I mean, it was demonstrable that you can't be empathetic, and you can't, I mean, and I'm not even saying that there are, I think what they did was more of an argument that we should be able to justifiably withhold moral behavior from this group. They weren't saying it necessarily. I mean, they might have labeled it in essence, that this was a good thing to do or the right thing to do. But what they were actually doing was saying, we think we have grounds to withhold moral behavior from a particular demographic. We don't have to be moral toward this group. We can abuse them. We can do all these things to them and treat them like non-humans, because we don't have to look at them as human. And so what the first thing they did was sort of pull back all the morality from this particular demographic, and then they were able to do whatever they wanted to do to them.
Right, but there still is something that's, even though that's what they're saying, that's what they're advocating for, there's still something outside of them that is the actual authority, even if they don't recognize it or not, right?
I think what you're saying is this is your view, because that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that ultimately they have some innate features that they can disregard or they can go with, and they have to make those choices. But when they make those choices, they have to deal with other people like Don and myself who are going to make the choice to try and stop them, because we're not going to look at that and say, oh yeah, this is fine that you're just like, gassing people to death by the millions. We're not going to look at it that way. And so they are going to have to deal with the reality of other human beings who are saying that you have to continue to apply morality to these people, that you can't just simply treat them in such an immoral way.
Right, and I mean, I think you would get, Christians and other religious people to jump on that train with you.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I agree.
That.
Yeah, I agree. I think in the past
Hopefully
that's
the majority
been the
of the
case.
people, right?
Yeah, I think generally, and see, that's the thing with me is it's like I think generally people are going to go with their morality. I think there are very few Christians who are going to do something they believe is wrong because the Bible tells them so. They are sadly the most active, politically powerful Christians, because other Christians tend to just sort of be a more liberal live and let live variety, who are just trying to be good people and work in the soup kitchen and have the family to go to church and do the picnic afterwards.
Right, they rationalize
Yeah.
the disconnect.
That
right?
to me is like the average Christian. The average person going to church is not the person who's trying to shove their religion down someone else's throat. I think most people who are Christians are just living their lives and probably don't think twice, except to go to church on Sunday and bring the kids for Bible school and cookies and whatever.
Well, I don't know how
Like,
long
we're-
this particular
whatever,
conversation's going on.
Regardless
but,
if you're an atheist or a Christian,
I can
or,
only do some. Tracy's
active
actually one of my
in
favorite.
politics or not,
Why-
I think we're all
It's
trying
not
to
catching up with me here.
exert some kind of moral.
Yeah. I just heard this shit too many times, I think. It's just like, can't fucking follow the entirety of this conversation. Like, I probably would have been helpful if I had heard where he started from. But, yeah, whatever. Like, shit, that might put me to sleep all by itself if I kept listening, but. Although I do think, Tracy's arguments are spot on. It's just like, what was the point of this conversation? Why do we have to argue about the morality of not gassing people right now? Oh no. The occult video. MSNBC declares hate for white Latinos. Should we do it? This sounds really, really edgy. I don't know. No. Okay, let's... Fuck it. So, let's still here. Is it here? Uh-huh. 6 hours. Oh my goodness. Not doing the whole thing. I just want to see if I can find. We'll see what it looks like at the beginning. And I know where I want to be in William's stream, so oh boy, Duhast.
Diligence in. I don't see them put the research in. I don't see them putting in the research or the critical analysis. That's see the Tanakh, especially the Pentateuch. These are specific. They require specialists because their culture was so dramatically different than ours. I mean, we need anthropologists, we need historians, people that understand the Hebrew language. I mean, it goes into depth of how comprehensive it really is, understanding these cultures back then. And it just turns me off from William that he's so artificial and skin deep. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just purely emotional based, and he's operating off of his modern understanding of reality, and he's looking down on this ancient society and this ancient text which God has revealed himself in, and he doesn't even put the work in. But I mean, at least
why do you think he's looking down on it? He's just saying it's it's fucking ancient, and you're not taking any modern new knowledge into account. Like, that's what we're all saying.
Put the work in to show scholarship. What are you doing, William? So what I got out of this video anyway is I think maybe Graham might have been the root cause of his maybe going into atheism, I guess, or deconversion. It wasn't that. This is what I got out of it. It wasn't me specifically was the problem. It was Graham and how he answered the Genesis flood. But why aren't you listening to other people though, William? Why is Graham your final,
how much did you listen to?
Why is Graham some type of arbiter for what you believe? He's just.
I could already tell you, he said it was both of you, but okay.
The man, he has his opinions and understandings of things. What you really should be doing is delving into scholarship. I mean, that's what you should be doing. Anyway, let's jump into it. I know Graham.
The whole question for us, though, is why invest more time in scholarship of the Bible if we think the whole thing's bullshit to begin with?
Wanted to talk about 1 Corinthians 15.
Or at least significant. Well, I don't think William thinks the whole thing's bullshit. I'm speaking for William, that's for me. But if you think that significant portion of it is completely misinterpreted back asswards.
But that'll be interesting. I'm looking forward to that. But that ends, I think we completely dispelled and overturned, debunked the idea of Christianity being barbaric. But what did you guys think about that?
Fantastic, Braves. You did a great job once again.
I totally agree. I really enjoyed that. That was awesome. Thank you.
All glory goes to God, but you can see
so powerful.
Christianity is a religion of peace and love. It's never been barbaric.
It is.
Leviathan Papa Emeritus. Wow.
So
I mean, the guy, come on, William. You were freaking trolling us. And all you do is mock our beliefs. To me, all I've ever seen you do is be a contrarian. You try to unravel, you try to pick away at the Christian belief system. So why would you consider yourself, what are you deconverting from? And I guess people don't like the just trait of God as well, but that's all right. It's a sinner. Sinners don't like, for the same reason that that criminals run away from the cops is the same reason why sinners run away from God. So it's basically the same thing.
It is. True, true. That is right.
And does William know how to click the bottom on the gearbox on the bottom right side where it says quality? Come on, William. Mr. Sophistication, Mr. Modern Atheist. Ken. And welcome, Shell Vertica. I said that. I'm sorry if I butchered that name. So this is, I mean, really glad we're doing this again because we're like revisiting this stream, Shell Vertica. So this paper will be for you too. I'm about to unload it here in a second. But yes, exactly, Jill. They try to deconstruct. They try to subvert. They try to undermine the Christian faith, and it's all for naught. You can't do it. It's unbeatable. It's irrefutable. Yes, yeah, you're a little bit low, but I can hear you though. Yeah.
Okay. We got a few minutes of that. So, I was watching William's video. I know what he did say, at least for a pretty good portion of it, and it should be in my history. Damn it, why do I keep moving? Stop moving. Oh yeah, that one was fun. I guess I watched quite a few videos.
Considering and help me find a logical way out of this mess, that would be helpful. I mean, you can ridicule me, but this is the situation I'm in, and whether you believe it or not, I've been a Christian a long time. So I don't want to be wrong. You know what I'm saying? Because you know what happens if a Christian's wrong, right? I mean, he's a grifter, a charlatan, right? Who's not? Which one isn't? But what really got me, I think, was Praise I Am's channel. I mean, these people all claim to be filled with the Holy Spirit. But I've never seen such willful ignorance in my life. So I'm going to go back through the moment when I think it started happening. The desire to be as far away from this shit as I could possibly be.
The allegations and charges that are brought against the Bible
show a merciless monster. Basically, those are the accusations, the acts that he commands, all that stuff. And he spent, let's see, an hour and 25 minutes trying to convince himself and the other dingbats that's
I did confirm. I was in the chat at this point. His mic cuts out for a few seconds, but he comes back. So yeah, just had a momentary glitch or something.
So part of actually love, you can't have love without justice. I'm gonna just reiterate the definition of justice again from the Merriam-Webster dictionary. So this is what Merriam-Webster says: the maintenance or administration of what is just, especially by the impartial adjustment of conflicting claims or the assignment of merited rewards or punishments.
Good. So we've got definitions. Now, if we could just write those down and keep them in front of us throughout this whole thing, praise, you wouldn't have a problem.
So it's impartial, being impartial with punishments, basically, or rewards, which judgment is a reward. It's a reward for evil. So I think you need to consider these things, that God is just. He governs all things. But anyway, I think we'll open it up here, and I know Graham wanted to talk about 1 Corinthians 15. That'll be interesting. I'm looking forward to that. Well, that ends, I think we completely dispelled and overturned, debunked the idea of Christianity being barbaric. But what do you guys think about that?
Fantastic, Praise. You did a great job again. Once again.
I totally agree. I really enjoyed that. That was awesome. Thank you.
All glory goes to God, but you can see
It's so powerful.
Christianity is a religion of peace and love. It's never been barbaric.
It is.
And people don't like the just trait of God as well, but that's all right. It's a sinner. Sinners don't like. For the same reason that that criminals run away from the cops is the same reason why sinners run away from God. So it's basically the same thing.
It is.
True.
That is right.
Pinned. And welcome, Shell Vertica. I said that. I'm sorry if I butchered that name.
Oh, hang on. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah, you're a little bit low, but I can hear you, though. Oh, yeah.
All right, I'm trying to make it louder, but it doesn't really like me.
Oh, that's fine, man. Don't worry about it. It's take your time. But I think if you want to, I think we hear sufficiently. At least we do hear sufficiently, though.
Okay. Yeah, my point was about the barbaric part. Was all the Old Testament collective.
Okay. Did it? Oh, yeah. Oh, you guys already went through this? Oh, I think I saw a bit of that. Oh shit, wait. No, that's not what I meant to do. Are you not modded? I have to go to YouTube. Hold on. Yeah, I was listening to the live with y'all, and then I had to go, but I kept, yeah. I kept paying attention. So, I mean, after speaking to William a few times, like this thing, it's lagging out on me a little bit. I think I still have better internet here. I know I hear myself. There we go. Yeah, I feel like I understand where his head's at pretty well, and so Praise keeps getting more and more discombobulated the whole time I've been listening to him. So, oh, I don't know what the difference between moderators is. They have different standard or managing moderator. What that means anymore? Can you post links? I don't remember that being there before. Yeah. Following the conversation like a bit, and then I've been wanting to have William back on for another one-to-one soon too. So I'm like, totally dreaming of this. I think it's a it's a shit show, and I love it. No, I mean I have a lot of respect for William. Don't get me wrong. Just the stuff we're dealing with right now. Speaking of which, 12:13. It's the witching hour, right? I'll grab another one of these. Chill. Jill is a character, man. He really believes his own bullshit, though. You gotta give credit for that. Give credit where credit's due. Yeah, man, I had so I'm pretty sure I had a guy come by the bus stop and set off a friggin' firecracker on me. Not like on me, but you know, like at the stop. Because I jacked him up about his parking the day before, and this is a comical situation. So, yeah, we got a little unnecessarily heated up. I thought that was funny. Fix your fucking parking. I didn't say that. That's not what I said. That's what I was thinking. Oh, no. See, that's going to make me feel bad. I don't want to watch that. It's going to make me feel bad. I don't want to feel bad. I want to feel happy. All right. I think you got something for us. Oh, you got the link up here. Oh, and I have to go back to the YouTube stream to show it, huh? That's right. Where's my mind? Do you know around what time that whole situation happened with Jill? Seems like I'm pressing a lot more buttons than necessary. Huh? Did Praise show up? Oh no, shit. What all did happen? I've already been here. Hit the like button at least. I'll bet. Nine hours, man. I don't know how you do it. I mean, I guess I could just leave the stream
Getting
running while I
everything
sleep.
adjusted now. Yeah, this is how it's actually how
But then
the
I'd have to add like somebody to let people into the room, right?
sausage is actually made in the production stream.
Come on. Someone say something.
Yes, Sandy's right. You need to give that.
Ever loving me.
To be fair.
Yeah, the like button is enthusiastically. How do you say it, Sammy? Enthusiastically giving consent.
Ongoing enthusiastic consent.
There you go.
Because it can be withdrawn at any time.
Yeah, I'm too old for all that crap.
By hitting the thumbs down button.
Yeah.
And it wasn't the guys, it was just me that was completely inadequate. And I realized while I was having audio issues, I had that tab muted.
Yeah.
So no matter what, I was re-thrown out the window.
That's not very parsimonious. Oh, I think that if someone arbitrarily withdraws consent mid-act, that should be the crime, like fraud at the very least. I mean, can you imagine being balls deep and then the woman saying, or guy saying, no, that's it, that's over.
I've been there.
Like, huh?
But then, wait.
Nerdy
let me
for
tell
the
you
win.
this. That happened. She called her mom, and then we resumed the coitus and finished. Yeah, that happened.
Finger was still in his ear. Did your ear give enthusiastic ongoing consent? I mean, if consent was precipitously withdrawn, I would, comply. But I'd be like, man, that's a pretty crappy thing to do. Don't think I'm going to get started with that again. You're on my no-go list.
I don't think we should talk about fingering anything. Sandy hadn't even.
Coffee yet?
Yeah, Sandy resolved it all. I think Brojo does have a Discord, but I don't know the link. I don't really use Discord.
So you figured it out. I should have just looked at the chat. They were probably screaming at me.
Well, now that broadcast is over, the chat's going to be invisible for like a couple hours.
Good. and forget about it. So yeah, I don't know how much of it was actually live, but
15 minutes exactly to the second.
You could just delete that one. That one and just do a complete mulligan.
Yeah.
Oh, Carpenter. Sweet Carpenter.
So one thing that I guess that I wanted to point out with this whole thing is that their response to your deconversion, deconstruction, whatever it is, whether, you know, I haven't even asked you how serious you are about it, like what your position is, which is what I'm hoping you might be willing to do. But their response is not to try and reach out in any way or anything positive at all. Actually, it was to get on the defense as though you blamed them directly, which you obviously never did.
I mean, that's not entirely true. I did assign certain actions that are typical amongst them, and that were exemplified exemplified by Praise and Graham and Olive. And so, yeah, in a way, I did bring their names into it. But I noticed that Praise was trying to.
Okay, thank you.
Your audio turned spotty.
About Graham, like putting it all on. Like,
I noticed the Praise,
Graham.
and then it
I
cut
never
out.
said that.
Yeah, Praise was trying to put it off on Graham, and yeah, no, that's what I noticed too. Though he was assigning equal blame all around. I think for the most part. I mean, it was emphasizing some of the things Graham said, but the fact that they were all agreeing with them, and that it was just like, yeah, totally overlooking, yeah.
So he
I got
said that Praise tried to make it about Graham. And I'd noticed that. It's actually one of the bits that I screenshotted.
Whenever I know that my connection is good, I'll talk more about where I'm at right now. But
there you go.
Great.
Yeah, you're good.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm disillusioned with the ability to validate any of these beliefs through the Bible because of what the Bible is and how it was compiled and who was involved in compiling it. So the truth about Jesus, we may never know. We may never know everything that he actually said. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So there's not a whole lot that I can just assume. I can't prove any of the beliefs that I've had all this time about the Bible, the Old Testament, nor can they, because believe me, if I could find a way to substantiate that I had been wrong for the last however many years, I would be doing that. Just out of pride, if nothing else.
And that's a good point. That the dismissal of your honesty, right? And what they ran back to, which is what they always run back to.
We're never a Christian.
Amen.
Right, and they may be right, because I have no way, if I never was, then I have no way of knowing what that would feel like and how to identify that. But I can say that I believed as hard as anyone possibly could to the fact that I became a legalist at one point. I mean, it was so severe, my desire to want to be God's, one of God's special people, that I wouldn't get gas after sundown on Friday to Saturday at sundown. Like I would, if it was Saturday like afternoon but not evening yet, and I was running out of gas, I would park in the parking lot of the gas station and wait till dark to fill up my gas tank. It could be like 3 hours, and I did that sometimes even with the family in the car. If I didn't prepare like I was supposed to on Friday for the Sabbath. Like I was serious, that's because I thought I was doing the right thing. I knew I had no obligation to do it. I was just trying to do everything right. So I don't know if that would make me sincere. It felt pretty sincere to me at the time, but maybe they.
I agree. I'd say even brave to like say what he's saying in the circle he's saying it, because automatically, I mean, he knows he's got to get ridiculed. This is what they do, as they like to say. Same shit. We've all seen this.
Maybe they can tell me a different experience of being a Christian and being a believer that's the right experience.
Well, that
pick up. Did that break up throughout me talking?
A little bit at the end there.
Fuck.
The last we got was
that it felt sincere and authentic.
Yeah. So if they've got a different experience than the one that I had that is superior, I'd be interested in hearing about it. But I was under the impression that I believed with all my heart.
Yeah. And the other thing I noticed was that it was a complete dismissal of your whole point about the behavior of so-called Christians and how it doesn't align with Christ's message and so on. They didn't touch that at all. It was
to be fair,
you're appealing to emotion.
Yeah, to be fair though, they didn't speak on it, but then
Sure. Good to see you. So yeah, I meant to before this stream take a brief pause and say hello. I meant to age restrict my channel. I think I should do that, but I was gonna ask the panel what we think about that. I always say not made for kids, but at this point, I think I should put the age restricted channel. Let me know what you think. But yeah, we're cussing over here on the. It's not family friendly anymore. We crossed that line.
But then they demonstrated
quite a while ago.
the rest of their stream. The exact thing that I have a problem with Christians. They got bogged down in arguing amongst each other and insulting each other. Like a few minutes after I got there to, I guess, defend myself. They ended up turning on each other and attacking each other. All from a question that one asked me, they just attacked each other. And I was like, well, here it is. There's the Holy Spirit again.
One of the things I screenshotted was someone commented a very thoughtful, not offensive, non-attacking comment in like offering an explanation to something that you had said or something, and they must be a Presbyterian. I think that's what he said. But anyway,
I am the Presbyterian.
Yeah. His response to this comment, which was, like I said, really thoughtful and sort of pushed back on praise, his response was to play a clip that they've made about this guy where he's some sort of super potato.
Yeah, I saw that.
No intellectual response. No response at all.
Have you seen T Jump's Infinite Potato? I clicked it over at Stupid Monkey Philosophy. It's I fucking died laughing.
When people push back, I noticed he just resorts to the usual.
Well, you remember
so disappointing.
You remember some of the same ridiculous arguments that he was giving the night that me and Shao Vertical were actually in there on the original stream about secondhand smoke, smoking while your mother's pregnant, or drinking while I swear to you, he went back to that same vomit.
Yeah,
it had nothing. It still had no relevance to what we were saying, and that's what I meant though. That They don't understand how we're reasoning.
Yeah.
PJ.
It's actually one of the things that
Hey,
I've
Will.
screenshotted.
Howdy.
Well, I think that
PJ,
the whole idea of the clutch, or the clutching of the pearls when you question God's morality, that's the hardest thing. Like, as though you don't have the ability to know right and wrong. You know, like if you see something in the Bible, you go, "Oh, that just seems wrong." That somehow, how dare you notice that this is some foul shit?
yeah, or point out that God of the Bible, if you take it like as a whole, is he's a hypocrite. Just call it like it is, right?
Hopefully it shares the audio. Let me know if it doesn't. So you should be able to see this. And it's just clips chopped up, obviously, because I was going to use them, but I didn't bother. So this is just what I had thought was worth grabbing.
Audio. Bubba, what are you doing? There's no sound from the video.
There's no audio. You kind of fill it in, though. I haven't seen this episode yet. It's like, knock, 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 knock. Why I oughta.
So powerful.
So you can hear that?
No, we can't hear that. We can't hear the video at all.
Okay, that sucks.
Midfenuna.
I wonder why you started praying.
Oh my!
What's good, PJ?
I just have to say this one more thing because this dude tonight he started praying at me. He was like, dude, this guy was off the hook, but he was like praying to God and all that and shit. And he fucking kept saying, "God bless you, brother. God bless you." I was like, motherfucker, you know. And I'm at work. I'm in uniform. It's just like trying to like hold my shit together. And he's an older guy and stuff. I was like, yeah, I mean, I did. I held it together pretty well, I'd say. We all got it handled, but save someone, yes. But anyway, yeah, that was fun. I don't know why it's just.
Oh, I don't know, man. All kinds of shit, I guess. Where to start?
All right. That summed it up nicely.
Start with the day, I guess. I don't know.
All right, so let's go to this timestamp now. 2:10:25.
I almost out of weed. This rarely ever happens.
Oh, yikes.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Kevin's in the house. Good to
Okay,
see
so
you,
just
bro.
after the 15
Man,
minutes.
it's perfect already.
When
Shoot,
children come in, we're gonna have a tantrum.
You see that?
And hear it.
Yep.
Here's what we have to say about Ryan.
Uh-oh. Did we break it? We broke it.
I'm gonna do it, Sammy. I'm gonna let him in.
It's your show, brother.
Well, it's actually your show.
Well,
But I'm interested to see what spirit he comes in.
You're running the show, though.
Oh boy.
I don't think you can discern spirits, William.
I'm pretty sure I can.
If you voted for Biden, first of all, don't lecture me on morality.
I'm not sure if anyone here voted for Biden.
Yeah, I think it's just shtick sometimes.
The Christian
I always say that
perspective,
when
if
we
I
get
may give it,
ridiculous.
since it's not allowed up here apparently on this panel.
You can give the Calvinist perspective, sure.
The Christian perspective is that there is no such thing as a deconversion. Okay, there's no such thing as a deconversion. You can deconstruct the Christian faith. And if you talk to some of the people who are close to me on the internet, they'll tell you that I've told them before William tried this stunt, that's exactly what he was doing from the very beginning. So we're not ignorant of Satan's devices. We knew what was going on. We knew what you were doing. You were deconstructing the faith slowly but surely to come to this point. So you're not fooling anyone, at least not the elect, Mr. Freeman.
The elect?
The elect of God.
Well, he's looking open and
You're the
honest.
elect?
Were you not listening?
You are not fooling anyone.
You're
Right.
making this all about you and how great you are.
So
Yeah.
that's the spirit. That's the spirit.
Spirit of pride. We got it.
That's the deluding spirit.
Mr.
That's the
Judgmental.
deluding. Yep.
Okay.
Deluding spirit.
So I will say that we're not impressed by this stunt, and where it reveals the truth.
Jill, we're speaking about you.
It
You
reveals
are the you are caught up in the deluding spirit. We've all been there.
I'm a man. So we're not convinced by any
Well, that's the claim. It
deconstruction
really
of
hasn't been demonstrated that you're a man.
Okay, go watch the one-on-one I had with William, where I demonstrated he had no valid reason to reject the God of the Bible. Yet
Person doesn't need a
he
valid
still
reason.
rejects the God of the Bible. So I would say,
All I hear is pride. You're proud to be who you are, and no one else is as good as you.
hey, I'm a man.
Fuck that shit.
All right, yeah, good for you.
Amen, Jody.
All right. So what I would say to this is any woman married to a man that cannot find evidence that she is unfaithful, but continues to say, well, what if you're unfaithful? I would leave that man and never marry him and never deal with him ever again. So good riddance.
I have no idea what you just said.
Never met. I mean, basically, you're saying that God is catfishing William. Someone's pretending to be something. They won't demonstrate anything. They just say, take it on faith. And keep sending your money.
You are proud of what you believe in.
I'm going to analyze the situation and see what's
Did he just actually leave voluntarily?
really there. Maybe there is someone really beautiful around the corner. And if I keep listening to this catfish, I'll never find the beautiful person.
Yeah. Your God is like really pissed off at his creation. Like you've made him to a living monster that's ready to scare the living shit out of its creation.
You know,
The only thing keeping, the only thing keeping you from demolishing that monster is that your ego is being fed.
Yeah.
Your ego feeds off of this monster. I don't even know. Something along that line.
if Hillary's you and Jody would forgive me, I'm actually once glad that Jill just spoke over and pretty much ignored whatever people were saying and said what he wanted to say, because I think he came in and did exactly what we expected him to.
Yeah.
Amen.
Came in the Holy Spirit.
Came in the spirit of pride and delusion.
That's amazing timing. 2:10 to 2:15. I love that timing. And now it's 12:41 in the AM where I'm at. Yeah, he left. No one kicked him. Oh, that was priceless. Oh, uneven tilt. Sorry. Shaky camera. So I'm going to sign off. Go get some rest. I haven't even finished this can. I don't know. Oh, I guess it's working. Yeah. Mr. Puffer. Cannabis infused, Dr. Pepper flavored beverage. The saga continues. Yeah, William's a good guy, and yeah, I don't know. When it comes to like non-harmful religious beliefs and practices, yeah, have at it, and stuff. And I think that's a good rule to live by. Whatever you believe, just know why you believe it, and try to believe as many true and useful things as possible. Be well, be kind. Good night. Oh my gosh, everything's swirling out of control. Where are we going? Goodbye.